Beth, thank you. And are we live? I think we are live. All right, we'll wait for a couple people to start joining in the chat this morning. Good morning to everybody, and an awesome morning to everybody. I'm somebody asked me a few minutes ago. I got home at 4 in the morning last night. So I am the most exhausted person, I think, on YouTube today. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm going to do my best to hide it. And I figured what better way to hide it than wear, like, the brightest color shirt that I could find to try to wake me up a little bit. And then, you know, getting home at 4 in the morning after... What time did I get up yesterday? I got up at 6 o'clock. So going from 6 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the morning, collapsing in my bed and dragging myself out of bed so I can do this for what is going to be a very, very long day. But, you know, it is what it is. This is why we're going to talk about positivity. Like right now, for example, good morning, Kiss Junkie. Good morning, Megan. My schedule is going to be a million things to do today, a million things to do tomorrow. Got to sneak in seeing my folks before they go down to Florida. And then wake up, get in a truck on Sunday morning, drive down to the U.S. border, down to the U.S., do some work in the back of my truck when I get there at night, wake up, come back. I'll probably be back late again on Monday night. So, I don't know, 11, 12 o'clock, but hopefully I'll get lucky. And then I'll wake up the next morning, do this, get in the car, drive to Ottawa, go to speak in an event, which I can talk about in a second. And then I think the next day is when I'm going to be testifying, although it keeps shifting. It might be the third. It might be up to the fourth even. We don't know. We don't yet. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Kiss Junkie. Good morning, Megan. I hope you're all having an awesome day. And a couple announcements. So first thing, the honkingforfreedom.com, you can get you can pre-order the book in digital form. So you can go there now. It'll be released on November the 11th, which is intentional and important, I think. And you'll be able to get your, if you want the Dead Tree edition, the paper edition, then that will be available on November 11th as well. So, but if you want to pre-order now, then go there and it'll be shipped out. Or it'll be, I guess, emailed to you or a link or whatever directly on November 11th. So Kathy wants a physical book. You know what's amazing? I mentioned I touched on this the last time. Physical books are becoming kind of like the vinyl, like vinyl records were. Like they're becoming back in fashion. So much that we actually had talked to a couple of publishers that were interested in publishing the book, and they said the only issue is there's a 3-year backlog in the printing industry because of the cerveza sickness. So many people started reading books again and buying books. So they had this massive surge in demand. And so there you go. So I decided, well, let's take a different approach as opposed to go to the publishing house. I think the quickest turnaround we got was 2.5 years, but I thought it was important to have this message out now. During whatever investigation commission or whatever would result of it, which is what's happening now. So I hope you have your coffee, and I hope you're having a very good morning and a very positive morning. And despite the fact that I want to keel over and collapse, I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to show you, a couple of little tricks that I do. Well, tricks. It's a reframing, and this is done in a book that I discovered several years ago, which is, by the way, from Toronto. It's a book and an app, and we'll get to that. But Kathy says, we need to keep records of history 100%. And that's what really annoys me about the commission, is when people are being a little bit dishonest and duplicitous. So, anyways, duplicitous. So, just a couple of things. On November the 1st, if you're in Ottawa, I'm going to be hosted by Capital Bitcoin, which is, if you can find them on Twitter, it's Ottawa BTC Meetup is the name of their Twitter account. And some of those people, I imagine, but I don't know for sure because Bitcoin is pseudo-anonymous, might have participated in helping getting Bitcoin to the truckers. So if they're there, I want to thank them. If they know the people who did it, I want to thank them too. And, I'm kind of a Bitcoiner anyways. So it's not just for Bitcoiners. So we're not going to be sitting there talking about, multi-sig versus single sig versus, cold storage versus hot storage, if you want. It's not going to be too much into it. It's going to be more about the idea of how of Bitcoin and freedom and the Freedom Convoy, and I'm sure going to have lots of questions about that. So if you want to come out and have some drinks and have some bar food together, I think it's bar food, then let's hang out. And that's going to be on November the 1st at a time. I don't know. I imagine after dinner at some point. So, yeah. And on that note, PayPal is back to banning people from using their services. So I guess, Bitcoin is going to be even more important for a lot of you in the future. Okay, so just a couple of things on the EMAC, and then I'm going to get into this, positivity exercise, because I've had a lot of people ask me about that, and I don't know, I find it quite effective. So I noticed that we see this turn towards deception and dishonesty in this commission as people are doubling down on narratives and telling untruths and all that sort of stuff. And why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Because they're responsible. They're responsible for a major F-up, and they don't want to be held accountable. So all those people say, oh, yeah, we need accountability. Well, now they're finally under the microscope. Now they don't want accountability so much. It's funny how that works, right? Rox, hey, Rox. So she says for Ottawa, Capital Bitcoin is 7 p.m. Score pizza in the Gleb. What's the Gleb? I don't know, but okay. Bitcoin, beer, pizza, and freedom. Sounds good to me. So and that's going to be on November the 1st. So I gotta stop saying so today. I'm exhausted. I honestly slept for 2.5 hours. What's his name? What's his name? The Watson, the mayor. He's the mayor. I don't know, the old guy. He, somebody just posted today. K9, one of the people who comes in here, who's absolutely amazing, just posted his testimony that he was showing him lying to, I guess that's the parliamentary commission that is investigating, and no shocker that they're all lying. And the first question I have is, what is the punishment if you are lying to the commission? I would imagine it should be pretty severe, right? Because after all, this is a historical moment in Canadian history that will maybe guide future legislation in the country, right? This might have long-term effects on Canada. And you're going to go into your lie? Like, who does that? Oh, psychopaths do that. That's right. Politicians do that. And so what he said was, it was during a Senate hearing review. Sorry, I just jotted down my notes here. During the Senate hearing review, he said the city imposed a lockdown on businesses when the convoy was there. The city imposed a lockdown on businesses during the convoy. Okay, so it's not the convoy that cost people money and revenue, which is also false, which I'll get to that in a second. But the city knowingly attempted to sabotage businesses? Is that what they did? Because I do remember the business is telling us there's something like $150 a day fine if they opened up, something like that. And that came from Jim Watson. That came from Trudeau's little, there's a few words I could use to describe both of them. But so he imposed a fine trying to sabotage business owners. and now playing the victim. Sound familiar, doesn't it? This guy's amazing. He really is. He's wonderful. He also lied about the nonstop horns. We all know there was horns for the first day and a half, couple of days, and then it was quiet because all of us needed to sleep. And it's funny, you see online the legacy media, the fake news media, they keep b-rolling the horns from like the first day and second day because that's all there is, and the rest of it was quiet. I guess it doesn't make for very exciting media. People just hanging around playing hockey, feeding the homeless, just chilling out together, doing their dance parties, playing. There was some. There's a stage. There was music. There was bands that were playing. I guess that's not exciting. Karen says, "I see an afternoon nap in your near future." Oh, I wish I could. I might have to figure something out and just work through the night or something. I don't know, but. Okay, we got and Watson lied to the commission. Yes, he lied to the commission. I mean, they're all lying. I was listening to who was I listening yesterday in the truck? I can't remember. Somebody senior in OPP, and they all use weasel words, right? They're using weasel PR words because they've been trained how to lie around the issue and how to deflect. But that's all it is, right? So. Too bad the owners of the iconic cafe aren't going to speak at the inquiry. Well, why would they do that, right? Because that would blow a hole in the government's narrative. So they want to have as much, I think the goal, maybe I'm wrong, is as much ambiguity as possible, and don't have people that can make concrete examples of things, I guess. So that way it's, truckers bad, the truckers bad, the government bad, and take your ball, go home, don't do it again. And this is what the government should change in the future. I think that's what they're going for. Might be wrong. I might be, whatever. Anyways, people can submit online. Yet somebody kept sending me messages yesterday about this, and I'm so busy. I'm so much on my plate right now. So I don't know if there's a way to submit stuff to the commission. I don't know, maybe submit some stuff to me, and I'll try to incorporate it in my testimony if you have any. But short, not like if you type an email, this is an amazing communication advice. There's a certain way to write emails if you want to get in touch with people who don't know you or famous people or people who have large platforms. However, one of the rules in that is if I get an email and I have to open the scroll bar, I'm just not reading it. It's just not happening. I just don't have time, and that's most people. So if you can send something concise, like a half a paragraph, something short, send it to me. I'll see if I can incorporate it into my testimony, because that would be great. So send me an email. If you go to honkingforfreedom.com, my email is in there, and just send me an email, and Megan, would the protest have gone on that long had Trudy had the balls to meet with the organizers? We all know that the only reason he sent in the goons was because he didn't want to talk to the convoy. I don't know. I don't imagine he was making any of the decisions. I imagine it was coming from his advisors, and they were just seeing money, that much money was getting in the hands of a political opponent. Like, we have fundraised every political party in Canadian history. And we just did, the Conservatives were bragging, oh, we sold so many memberships for Pierre Poilievre, and look how much money we made. And I'm like, amateurs. Because they made they brought in like a quarter of what we did, or a fifth of what we did, or something. Because we were appealing to people beyond just the political class and beyond the political cults, right? So, anyways, it is what it is. So he sabotaged his own city. This is the Mayor Watson. So he sabotaged his own businesses in his own city, preventing them from generating revenue and fining them if they did. And then he wants to blame us for it. Okay. What an idiot. He's such a... that's what happens when you live in the little echo chamber. Have you no idea how regular people who are not psychopaths think. And then he says also that it crushed the Freedom Convoy, crushed the tourism industry. Like, hey, buddy, hey, guess what? We were the tourism industry. I don't live in Ottawa, right? Those truckers didn't live in Ottawa. They needed to eat and go out and stuff, as well did so many of the protesters and supporters who came from Quebec and came from all over. Like, guess what those are called? They're called, I think they're called tourists. I think so. And the businesses that were open had never made so much money. Iconic Cafe was one of them. And God bless them. They were just amazing people. So anyways, we were the tourism industry. Watson sabotaged it, as well did the Diane Deans and the other crazies on that city council. So if you own a business in Ottawa and you're looking for someone to blame for lost revenue where you could have had, a second Christmas season, you can blame all of them. And I can't remember who closed the Rideau Center. Like, we were going in and out of the Rideau Center the first couple of days. Everything was cool. Tim Hortons has never made so much money. Everybody was great. And then they closed it because they had to send a message. Like, anyways. I got to tell you, I really hate that city. But that's another thing. Sonia, Lisa, who will get the most time asking you questions? The lawyers for the inquiry or your lawyer? Interesting. Lisa, I am in the unique position to be the only person who is going to be exclusively cross-examined. I won't have a lawyer. Why? That's why I wanted standing, right? The whole idea is if I had standing, then I could bring a lawyer, and that lawyer could ask people questions, people who lied, and you would have seen my lawyer this entire time. But I was denied standing in this procedure, so yeah, it is what it is. So I don't know, but whatever. Listen, I've been in enough scraps in my whole life, and I really don't. It'll be fun. You know what's going to happen? It's all going to work out. I'll get listen, from the perspective of being there, I will get the true story out because I'm not beholden to either the political parties that are jockeying to get people to say what they want. I'm not saying what any political party wants. I'm saying what exactly happened and transpired. And I think I'll add a little bit of additional context that has been intentionally omitted, and it'll be great. Bridget, good morning, Bridget, and good to see you. And Karen, weren't the borders still closed to tourists at the time? Plus, who visits Ottawa in the dead of winter? So yeah, the borders. What they were doing is they're randomly closing the bridges going into Ottawa, and that's why there was. I put a picture of it up. I don't know, a bunch of places. There was a massive wall of thousands of people that were walking in from Quebec every day because the pedestrian border wasn't closed. I guess they didn't think of that. Because what happens, they closed the border coming into Ottawa, so people just parked their cars, got out of their cars on the other side. I mean, it was lockdown, so it doesn't really matter. You can leave your car in the middle of anywhere. And they just walked across into Ontario. So, yeah, they were... you learned a lot. I learned a lot about, seeing it in real time. We all know about how like intelligence agencies and police agencies work and governments and really kind of screwing with people and manipulating them and doing one thing and saying the other. And there was a lot of that going on. So that was very evident. But so, okay, here we are. I have a stupidly busy schedule. I have slept, 2.5 hours. And going into this, I guess, which should be a stressful week for some people. I don't know. Everybody's like, "Are you nervous?" I'm like, "Nervous for what?" Anyways, but this is all a frame. It's a psychological frame that over years and years of going through, difficult times at work, difficult times in life, and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I always was pretty positive, anyways. Like naturally, I was taught that from a very young age. But, there are times where things get overwhelming for all of us. Everybody does, right? Beth says, there should be punishment for lying to the commission. All witnesses have all sworn, affirmed to tell the truth, the whole truth. Well, yeah, I know. Shocking that people in the political class would lie to save their ass. I mean, I'm absolutely shocked at that, right? Anyways, so the okay, I'll get that in a second. So back to the frame. How do people go through this sort of stuff and yet maintain the positive frame, and why is it important? Well, the reason it's important is because when you're in the state of anxiety, and I was doing this all through the convoy trying to help people with it. When you're in a state of anxiety, you can't deal with things. Then your emotions get in the way. You start making bad decisions. It's the same as like I do this when I'm in a rush. When I'm in a rush, I screw everything up. That's just the way I am. Because your mind can only hold 5 things or 7 things simultaneously and think about them, right? So it's kind of along that same line. So how do you maintain that state? Well, there's a whole bunch of different exercises that you can do that will teach this over time, and they're pretty simple and they're a little bit woo-woo sort of thing. And I apologize if it comes off as a little bit woo-woo, but this is reality what is, and it's important. This is, for those of you who have daily stress as kids, whatever, all that sort of stuff. So I found this exercise that I started using years ago called the 5-Minute Journal. And the 5-Minute Journal is both now an app and a workbook. At that time, I think it was just a workbook at that time. And the whole idea is it gets you and anybody who's using it out of that state of anxiety and the state of, everybody talks about the rat race, the rat race of things. The rat race is all fictitious. You're doing it to yourself. It doesn't actually exist. That's the piling on of anxiety and stress for some people, it's a lack of having a to-do list and structure. And for other people, it's just they're consumed with the emotions of staying anxious. So how do you get out of this? And it was funny, I talked to Jordan about this during the convoy. The first thing is you got to get out of that state by moving your emotional state elsewhere. So where do you move it elsewhere? The first thing you do is, this is why you'll hear a lot of like woo-woo people talk about gratitude, because gratitude is a very good, psychological state that allows you to now shift over and force you to be positive, right? You can't be angry and be gratuitous. It doesn't function. Those are the opposites. So if you shift over into gratitude, then it takes some time. That's why it's called the 5-minute 5-minute journal, because it takes 5 minutes. Sometimes on a really stressful day, it'll take 20 minutes. And sometimes, bounce out of bed, everything's great, takes 30 seconds, right? So if you have a pen and paper, so here's a pen. So get your pen, get your paper, or open up if you want to do this together, it's up to you, but I thought this would be fun. If you can open up notes in your computer or drafts, or it doesn't matter, or Word if you use that, doesn't matter. There's really it's just a couple of questions that you ask yourself, and it's not about trying to guess the answer really quickly. It's the opposite. You want to get the answer slowly, which is why 5 minutes or more, right? Because really only a couple of questions that you ask yourself. And I'm going to do it here with you. So I'll do it here with you right now. So if you have your pen and paper, you can do it yourself or your app and try it. I'm telling you, this is, I'm going to do it a little bit quicker, but you can do it afterwards or try doing it while we're doing it. The first question in it is, so you wake up every day, on the stressful days. I don't use it every day. I'm not all that anxious, to be entirely honest, but once in a while I do. I open it up and get out of bed, open it up, and what's the first thing that you have to ask yourself is, what are 3 things, so 3 things that you are thankful for? Remember, we're trying to shift over to being gratuitous, right? 3 things that you're thankful for. 3, and they can be big things, or they could be small things. They can be nothing. So, for example, if I was just I do this pretty quickly. Some people who are new to it, like when I was new, it was difficult the first couple of times. But what's the first thing that if you sit back and you think about it, that you can be truly grateful for? Things that give meaning to your life, or little things that happen today. So I'll give you an example of a little thing. I'll write this down now on my thing. Border yesterday. So yes, this is an example of a stupid thing, a little thing, right? But the reason I'm showing you this for a reason, because everybody's like, oh, my kids or whatever. Like, okay, fine. But you can't do that every day, right? So it has to be varied, because you got to force yourself into that state. And if your kids are making you crazy, then that's not going to get you in a positive state. So the first thing I just wrote down here, and you're going to think this is silly, and it is really silly. When I came back yesterday and got to the border, which was, 12 o'clock, something like that. I have these headphones I use in the truck called Skull Candies. They're amazing for 80s music because there's like a massive a boost component to it for bass, and they have haptic feedback in the headphones. I've never had sound like that in a set of headphones in my life. It's amazing. It's like being in a studio, and the haptic feedback, it's almost like it mimics really, really, really deep bass. So it gives a lot of life to 80s music, and that's kind of the problem with a lot of 80s music. It doesn't have the full range of sound. All right, so I get up to the border, and I give them my paperwork. I took my headphones off, give them all the stuff, to blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Stamp my PARs and my e-manifest, and I started my truck up again, put my headphones on, put it in the first gear, and I had a light load, so the truck moves a lot quicker. And just like the perfect song came on. It was the perfect vibe. The sound was amazing, a song I haven't heard since maybe I was a kid, or at least many, many years, 80s song. I like 80s music, as well as other stuff. And it wasn't that cold out, had the window open. There's no real way to describe it, but it's one of those times where everything worked out perfectly. It was great. And I hit the gas. I don't know, maybe I need those injectors replaced on my truck, but it came to life. Music came on. I'm shifting through the gears, smooth every time. And next thing I know, I'm on the highway, and it's just, it was completely dark, no cars around, nothing, just myself. And there was just a certain, a certain aura vibe. Like everything was working out, and it felt great. It was like right? So that's a small thing. I don't know how to describe that. So I put on the the border yesterday. And if I'm using the app, what I would do is I would take one of the pictures. I took a picture when I was at a stop last night of the view from the truck, and I would put that as the photo for the day, and I would explain, okay, first thing that makes me feel great was, crossing the border yesterday and it was super quick and a whole bunch of good things. So it's a nothing experience. It's really nothing, but the emotional state is what you're looking for, right? So I'm grateful for that, 15 minutes yesterday, that everything just worked out perfectly. For whatever reason, I was just in this sort of positive vibe, right? Okay. So, number 2, do you have anything? If you guys have anything, you can post it in the chat. I'm curious what you think, what you would put for your number 1, number 2, number 3 things. So then you keep going through this exercise, and you find 3 things that that will get you into that state of gratitude. Some things that often come up is, for me, is the freedom of flexibility, because this week's not so flexible. But in general, like I'm not a cubicle monkey. I would go crazy if I were. So I have a lot of freedom and flexibility. I'm traveling a lot because when I'm in the truck, and then when we're working on my other stuff, I'm here, but I'm running the meetings, like that whole vibe of not having constraints. That's something I'm grateful for. So you all have these things in your life. And if you start your morning and you start going through all of these, you sit back on a morning where you're really stressful, stressful, and you force yourself to sit back and say, hey, this commission, they're all lying and whatever, but I don't care, because last night crossing the border was awesome. I have this whole freedom and the life that I live and the structure that I have. That's really great. When I go to Ottawa, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to drive. I'll take my car. Why? I've never taken this car on a long drive. I like going, stopping after a couple hours, going into whatever en route and having coffee, chill for 20 minutes and get on my phone, respond to people, all that sort of stuff. Like, enjoy the journey, right? Enjoying the journey of life, right? Keith says, oh, to be young and mobile. Keith, yes, but, I've mentioned before on here, one of my closest friends has cerebral palsy. So he doesn't have that sort of freedom to, in this capacity, but he has so many other things in his life that we live in a different world where you can do so much from your home. And he's like a big techno nerd. He's doing a whole bunch of stuff. And so he has like a lot of tech in his place that has become hobbies for him. He researches a lot, learns a lot about a lot of things. So it doesn't necessarily, it's just for me being mobile and getting out and about. For me, that's a big thing. But for him, he doesn't really care about that. He's not looking to, he bought I remember he bought, years ago when I was down in Florida, he bought a Porsche, his first Porsche. And he wanted me to go to the dealership with him to pick it up. And I'm like, okay, I just flew in from Colombia and from visiting friends. And he's like, yeah, come, let's go to the collection. I want to pick up my car. I'll show it to you, whatever. And when we get there, he's like, okay, can you drive? I'm like, you just bought the car. You want? He's like, nah, I don't like driving. Because he doesn't. He hates driving on the highway, right? So we all have these different mechanisms that will work into our lifestyle irrespective of limitations. And when you say, like Keith, when you say, yes, my heart goes out to him, why? He hates that. He gets so angry when people say that. Because the first thing he taught me when I met him was, he said to me, I'm just handicapped in my legs. Most people are handicapped here. And that's the attitude for which he's lived his life. And he always told me, never, ever be a victim. And he said, I was a victim till I was maybe 16 years old. And then I realized, okay, I can be miserable my whole life and blame everybody else. Or I could realize this is life. These are the cards we get. Some people get a better deck of cards than the rest of us. And what can you do? Like Justin Trudeau's never had to work a day in his life. He never will have to. That's just how life has worked out. It doesn't affect me. I don't really care. I know nothing about his life. I don't really care. Yeah, I got to focus on my own. So there's so many things we can all do. And if we shift into this state of gratitude, Keith, I'm sure you have talents that other people don't have. And if you shift to that state of gratitude and acknowledge those talents and strengths that you have, then that's the first step to building a positive frame that you can maintain permanently. And it's a work in progress. It's difficult. Some days it's harder than others, and some days it just comes naturally. But it's important. So that's why, when people are saying I was talking about the commission here and it was being negative, I'm like, I was joking because I don't really care. Right? You want the commission to go well, but people are going to lie. Okay, that's none of my business. They want to sit there and lie through their teeth. That's their problem. And Keith says old age and grandchildren. So there you go. I don't have kids. You have kids and grandchildren. So that's something to be very, very happy for and be very proud of. And when you go through this stage, the first step of the three things that you're grateful for, and if you sit back and instead of just saying, okay, my grandchildren, getting it done and over with, no, you sit back and think about your whole life and all your time. Do a little bit of, lucid daydreaming about your grandchildren. You know what? That's going to help you shift into that positive frame. It's an exercise. It's like going to the gym. You have to do it regularly, and you get better at it over time. But I know for me, it's the reason none of this stuff really bothers me. That's the reason while during the convoy, everybody was freaking out, and there's a picture in that video of the video I did for Honking for Freedom. At the very end, it's the two people in the street that are hugging, and then there's a picture of myself and Tamara hugging. That was the last time I saw her, last time I spoke to her. Hopefully I'll be able to finally talk to her in Ottawa in the presence of council at the commission or whatever, and they won't haul her off. I mean, it should be fine. But she came over because she was so stressed, so beyond stressed. And I think that's the same night she did that video where she was crying. And that was an episode. That wasn't Tamara how she is. That's Tamara breaking down with just overloaded with stress and overloaded with demands and negative energy that people were pushing her towards, a lack of sleep. That was a whole bunch of things. And that's what happens when we get overloaded. We have these sort of, I don't want to call it a manic breakdown, but it's in that, it feels like it's in that same sort of sphere. So when she came to me, she was not quite that bad. She was very, very stressed. And we talked for a little bit to calm her down. And, she's not pacing back and forth, but she's clearly upset, and I just, let's relax, let's calm and whatever. And she sat down on the ottoman next to me, and we just kind of did the, hey, don't worry, everything's going to work out. The sky is not falling. And I wish some people in our team took some of my advice about legal stuff, but it is what it is. And but everything's going to work out in the end anyways. Everything always does, right? There's bumps in the road. And that was, when she said, okay, I got to run out. I'm like, come, give me a hug. Let's relax, And so I've never had somebody try to squeeze me to death like that, because, she really needed a handler and a moat around her. That would have, I think that would have changed a lot of things. But it is what it is. And there we are. So that's why I put that at the end of the video. And also to parallel that to the people on the street in the book cover. I thought it was great. Kiss Junkie says, I shut off the commission yesterday and went to do other things away from the computer yesterday. Just needed a break from it all. We need a big win. Yeah, you can't do it. Listen, you think I've been watching every minute of the commission too? No. No. Like, when I'm in the truck, I'm putting it on. But, after a while, I was like, it's just the same lie over and over again. I've been listening to this guy for an hour and a half. There's been nothing new. He's prepared with the same, he's going to massage his answer to always pivot back to the same answer no matter what. So, okay, I know his game. I know his PR game that he's doing. Turn off. I'm going to listen to something that puts a smile on my face and gets me into a good state. So it's important, right? And anyways, so that's the first lesson. We'll get into the next step of the 5-minute journal next time. But please, yeah, exactly, Keith. It's talking points. I'm pivoting to talking points. And I'm going to try not to do that. I don't think I have to do that because you do that when you need to lie or you want to craft a false narrative. I'm not going to do that. So I don't really. Everybody's asking me, who's your lawyer? What are you doing? What are you preparing? I'm like, I'm going to get in my car. I'm going to drive up there, have a cup of coffee in my hand, show up, go to the hotel, walk over to Bitcoin. I'm going to chill the whole time. And the next morning, I'm just going to show up and sit down and say, all right, let's talk, right? Let's get to the bottom of this sort of thing. And, the questions are going to be leading questions and whatever. It is what it is. And I'm not going to allow that to disrupt my testimony. And I think it'll be fine. I think it's, you notice everybody is very cordial, and as it would be, of course. And I think it'll be fine. It's going to be great. I'm not going to get so wrapped up in, and I know there's other people, oh, great, we're going to get Dichter now. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. What you're going to get is the truth. And some people may or may not like it, and it is what it is. But the truth will always set us free. Sometimes it takes a little while, but it does. Okay. When you tell the truth, you don't have to stress. Exactly. Exactly. Like, and the best part is now that we know the government and the police screwed up so many things. It's not like, oh, I hope I don't tell them this because we made a mistake. It's like, no, listen, the professionals professionals in government made countless mistakes. So whatever, and one can argue they all caused all of this stuff. Like Doug Ford, with the $1 billion to the economy. Like, no, Doug Ford, you caused the $1 billion a day to the economy with your stupid app and your stupid passport and your stupid policies. That was you. What you saw on these bridges, on the Ambassador Bridge, that was the response to your stupidity and incompetence. It was a response. You did that. But, they always talk about accountability, but they never talk about taking responsibility, right? So it is what it is. You are fluid in your talking and have good scale, a voice, not monotone. Well, Keith, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know. I just I do a little bit of speaking from the heart, I guess. I just talk about, how I feel and what I think. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We all make mistakes, right? It is what it is. But thank you very much. Kiss Junkie is giving me the Wayne's World. Sup, dude? Very cool. Thank you. The sound is better on Telegraph than YouTube. Is that? Oh, you mean on the Facebook? Kevin, is that what you're saying? I don't know. It's because I'm using a codex. It's not a codex, an encoder, and there's a different codex for each platform. So that's probably what codex is, the like the driver for sound sort of thing. I use this with my kids. Gratitude, not attitude. Yeah. It's and listen, it's not perfect. But it doesn't always work. Sometimes it's a struggle. That's why the 5-minute journal sometimes is a 20-minute journal. But if you force yourself to sit back and just think about something that really makes you positive, but envision it, because we're visual creatures. If we can actually paint the picture and start to watch that positive thing with those either positive people or experiences or whatever, it'll get you into that state, and you can't be in a state of positivity and happiness and a state of anxiety at the same time. You can't. That's not how our brains are wired. It's one or the other. So, anyways, okay. What do you make of Trudeau's Hail Mary? CSIS showing info in private to the commission. I mean, are CSIS really competent? Honestly, does it really matter? What are they going to show him? Yeah, we have a bunch of truckers who were peaceful that came here and had a party. What else are they going to say? There's nothing else, right? There's nothing else to do. So it's one page. Truckers came, peaceful, barbecue, fed the homeless, dance party, and left. You missed a party, Mr. Prime Minister. That's it. He missed an opportunity to come on stage and dance. I thought he liked to come on stage and dance. Did that in India. What happened? Could have done that right in front of his parliament building. It is what it is. So yeah, and yesterday I actually got a call from, I did my first response to, we'll be kind right now and call them Legacy Media. We'll see what happens when they report it, because they're so funny. They released some document, persons of interest or something, and they redacted all the names and all the people and whatever. But accidentally, the government of Canada, I guess it was, or the OPP, forgot to redact one name. Guess whose name? Of course. Maybe the guy who's been laughing at them, calling them incompetent Keystone Cop stooges the entire time. Oh, I wonder if that was an accident. Oh, I wonder. Anyway, so they're like, how do you feel? Whatever. I'm like, I so don't care, man. Like, I don't. I'll tell you what I said, actually. I said to him, where is it? If I can't, we'll see. I was thinking about posting this online on Twitter. Tell me if you think I should post this. I was going to post, let me go to my sent email box. I would, no, that's not correct. Here, let's go. I was thinking about posting the questions that the Globe and Mail sent me, and then at the same time posting my response in like a little Twitter thread, because I don't do a lot of Twitter threads. So where is Marsha? Is it Marsha? Hold on. Let me just find. I know this isn't riveting, but it's interesting to know how the media works, and that these were the questions that they sent. I don't know. It's not coming up for whatever reason. I don't know. You think I should post it in what's it called? In the oh, here we go. Marsha McLeod. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Here it is. Okay. So tell me if you think I should post this in Twitter. So she sent me, I guess she sent me a copy of the document that came from the OPP, and she says, I'm working today with my colleague, Janet Dixon, I don't know who that is, about person of interest profiles the OPP created in relation to the people groups associated with the Freedom Convoy as part of their Project Hendon surveillance program, which were tabled with the POEC. Okay, fine. So then she says, I plan on making reference to this content of the report beyond to note that it was created. Okay. First, these are two questions. Do you have any comment you wish to make with respect to being profiled by the OPP or about the contents of the report? Also, there appears to be a redaction error in this report on page 2 in which your full name is included in the photo. Do you have any privacy concerns you would like to express? So, would you like to hear what I said? You type yes or no. You want to know what my response was to them? If you don't want me to tell you, I won't tell you the response. Let me get here. Okay, so this was my response to, yes, posted. Globe and Mail seems to be doing slow move towards the center. Well, yeah, until they say that the truckers have weaponized white supremacy around freedom. So my response, okay, I'll post these things in a bit. My response to the Globe and Mail is trying to be nice, because I don't know these people. Maybe they're doing a great job, and if that's the case, they're trying to be honest. Maybe I smacked them enough during the convoy. Not these people, but, legacy media in general, to know that if they try to do anything to me, I'll just destroy them. But anyways, no, they were very nice. They're very professional. So my response to, I really addressed the redaction thing and to being the person of interest. I said, thank you for your email, but I'm currently in the U.S. and pressed for time. 1, I would normally be annoyed. However, during the commission, we have seen confirmation of what my friends in law enforcement have been telling me for years, that most of the police brass are political leaders. That most of the police brass that are political leaders are grossly incompetent and politicized to the point that they are dangerous. Number 2, the accidental redaction error proves my first point. If you have any further questions, let me know. That was my response. So basically, we learned in the commission that they're completely incompetent. And number 2, that proves that exactly proves that they're completely incompetent by accidentally not redacting my name. I mean, do I care? No, it's not like people don't know who I am. I mean, I like my privacy as well, but I'm not all that important. Once all this is done, everybody's going to forget who I am anyway. So, yeah, it's fine. Who cares, right? Okay, so any other questions? Let me know if it's private or secret. If private or secret doesn't really exist, or that there be justification that we won't get to see. Oh, you're talking about the CSIS thing. CSIS people are the weirdest. They have these, somebody I know had to deal with them on a case in the legal profession, shall we say. And a CSIS agent came to their law office, and at that time, this was a while ago, I don't know how much has changed, but the agent, whatever his name was, gave a business card with a name, but it had no phone number, it had no address, it had no email address. And And this person's like, how do you want me to get in touch with you? Oh, well, we'll get in touch with you in case we need you. And this person said, so what do you give me a card for? Oh, so you know my name. I know what your name is. Like, oh, they're just, government, right? It is what it is. So, basically, what are they going to do? They're going to go to Trudeau, and they're going to say, hey, Trudeau, this is one of those dance parties you like to go to, and you completely screwed them and got violent. So, it is what it is, right? So, there you go. Okay, so I hope that helps. Many of you shift to that positive state. I recommend the 5-minute journal. There are many other exercises like that. That's just one that I found is very quick. It's easy, and it's effective because I don't have a lot of time to spend on woo-woo stuff. But it's really helped on a few really difficult days in the past for me, for sure. So I'm gonna have to run. It's already 10:30. So Capital Bitcoin meetup on the 1st of November. If you're in Ottawa, come. Let's hang out and have some beer and pizzas. I hope they have some other than beer. I gotta be honest, because I'm not a beer guy. But anyways, come for some pizza and hang out. We'll talk. It'll be lots of fun. HonkingForFreedom.com. Please share that with other people for them to get just a little heads up and the ability to pre-purchase their book. And the paperback will be available for November 11th. Might be a great stocking stuffer for some people who need to learn the truth. And everything's going to be on honkingforfreedom.com, including there's a whole bunch of dates that are being set up I'm going to be at events and talking or something about the book, like a little promo tour, and it's just a few places. But we're going to put that on the website as well. So if there's one in your area, in your region, then we'll be able to let you know. Megan says, just an aside, FYI, over the past 2 to 3 streams, YouTube has been smooth, start to finish, no buffering. Okay, that's good news. So what am I doing differently? Absolutely nothing. So I have no idea. I don't know, maybe something was sitting in RAM, or I have no idea, but it is what it is. But thank you, Megan. I really appreciate it. And Kiss Junkie, have a great day, everybody. All of you have an awesome day. Remember, be good to people and be good to strangers. It's going to make you feel better. And also, don't forget, gratitude, not attitude, as Karen would say to her kids. Okay, thank you. We'll talk to you soon.